Mars. Alright, so welcome to round 2 of our third casuals tournament. I am Blues here with PB Head.
Hello.
And here we
And,
have our IO map with a glass colony. And any thoughts on the map?
2 bundles of silicon that are pretty far away from everything else that's
Now, the
useful.
ice doesn't seem all that easy to reach. It's not particularly difficult, I guess. There are small patches in the north still near the iron and aluminum.
On this aluminum patch and the silicon patch in the north is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, definitely room.
And Scavenger is our first found here.
Double very high. Will work nicely for carbon, but that's a really tiny crater.
Have some, I think he has a grand total of
A nomadic HQ has been founded.
oh, well, 7 tiles connecting his base, but they're all in weird spots. And there's the nomad in the silicon and
A nomadic HQ has been found.
Yeah, definitely the spot I was looking at more so. Very strong.
nomadics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. This is really good. Of course, one of those isn't really being used yet, but there will be ice and uranium in the future, I suppose.
Yep.
A nomadic HQ has
Poor
been founded.
Sheep is operating on some pretty weak silicon there.
But
That should be
there's
enough.
3
Yeah.
scavengers. There's 3 nomadics. Hopefully, it'll be okay. And first upgrade is our scavenger. No surprise there. He was first found, and scavengers are always fast to the upgrade.
I'm a bit surprised there wasn't another scavenger with this double high carbon and some ice nearby, some good aluminum.
HQ has been upgraded.
Would have been good.
He knew he wanted to upgrade, but he didn't quite know what to do with his claims. He's now finally getting down some ion collectors, and
Ions will be making good money, especially with all these garages down already.
oh yeah, they always do. Fuel in Ohio is like power everywhere else. It feels like.
Although the colony itself seems to be wanting to get in on that market. It has 2 ion collectors of its own down. It's going to be a little less ridiculous than usual. Everyone else going to that
Well.
expensive oxygen. Which is crashing pretty quickly.
Yeah, so there's a silicon shortage. I wonder which of these these pneumatics are gonna get in on this, if any. Relic clearly has the. Anyone?
Yeah, it looks like they're all too nervous to buy into it.
And then hit the upgrade immediately, buying it back. So, I mean, okay. He is going to be our first to level 3, which makes a lot of sense. Easy aluminum, easy.
Going into ions as well.
There's 2 back with the next. This is sort of just, another little smack on poor sheep with his relatively weak. He has 4 silicon tiles right now, and that just seems unhappy.
Right, that
And,
medium definitely
ion.
feels unnecessary.
Well, ion collector goes into the Geo. Okay.
Could get some nice work done with Geo Borehole eventually.
Yeah, Geo. You have a nuclear power plant going down for Encanto.
Nuclear for 2D back as well. And boosting it. Normally there's always the really nice counter to a boost is just mutinying the one that's not gooned or not focused on by the boost, but nuclear, that's a bit less of a interesting proposition just because you have to spend all that time shipping stuff out to it.
Well, at least one's goon, so that's good. The boost is under the goon, of course. Butter's getting a little bit pricey here. Of course, it's always 2. all these nukes down.
The black market is open for business.
The water first.
Yep, 2D back putting down a few water processors. Whoa. He also went for this, for both carbons up here. Which could pay off long term, but that's a lot of claims and a lot of fuel to be using early on. I guess you are a nomad, so you could also just stockpile in return.
Well, oxygen's down, and water is up, and Tuvok is making pretty good money off this water right now. Poor little Encanto is suffering from his base location.
Yeah, you can
He
see
has some strangely placed buildings, yes.
it's all very sad.
The singleton strategy is...
You can get away with this as a
I've tried with
robot.
a few times, but is generally not good.
The black market is online.
And he's once again upgraded and is a little slow on putting down claims. There we go. What are we gonna put here? It's just electronics factory. I suspect we'll also see this metal line go into a third electronics factory. Transparent aluminum. Well, aluminum is cheap and glass is expensive.
Yep. And a lot of people collecting a lot of aluminum, so likely that there's a lot of use to be made for this with the space elevators if we get to that point.
And poor Sheep, the person with no aluminum mines whatsoever, is of course the person to take the aluminum. Okay.
Well, no,
You know, I mean,
it does have a triangle of aluminum. Well, two building into a triangle.
oh, they're okay. They're okay. I'm sorry. Stupid nomads have 2 HQs.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of.
My bad.
Looks like 2D back is the only player in... No, Kanto's also moving into food. Food being ridiculously expensive, as tends to happen on IO. And 2D back also going to help out with that by shorting food. Yep, very nice. Boosted that, spied out Kanto's food, froze Kanto's food.
Yeah.
Though Relic is also boosting out a patent lab and some food, so this play just might not work out quite that well. Liquid battery's also going to be just a very nice pickup. Oxygen not super expensive right now, but it'll get there. Maybe.
Fight definitely seems to be on these this food situation. So Tuvok isn't I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of money, but he's using his food shortage. He's not buying into his own food shortage, if you will. I suppose he doesn't really have to, but...
Right, I think he might have been worried about Relic boosting out his food. Not sure how much he might have had stockpiled. At least...
Yeah, and given that he was sort of frozen, I suppose that's reasonable.
I am a bit confused about this second fuel surplus. This fuel's
The
already...
black market is coming down to that pretty hard, and it seems like Relic is really getting the advantage off of these food prices more than Tuvok.
Especially when synthetic meat comes out. People really just letting him get away with this patent lab.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Interesting that Poor Sheep has a hologram space elevator coming out.
The black market is
I saw him hoarding the electronics. I wasn't exactly sure what he was doing with it. Oh, wait, no, sheet. Oh,
Right, really making use of that
Yeah.
transparent aluminum.
I guess so. I guess so.
It isn't gooned yet though, so if anyone notices it, he's in some amount of trouble. Has a lot of debt as well, so he really needs this pay off quickly.
Oh, he's not in the most debt. Oh,
HQ has been upgraded.
If he does tip
It
over
is-
into D-det, then he'll never be able to defend that.
You know, fuel is a really good, well, decent launch, I suppose, and it is going to be.
Right, once it starts climbing in price, then maybe not. Prices really are kind of low across the board for the space elevator, but it's workable for now, and is such a cheap building to put up.
A scavenger
I'm-
HQ has been upgraded.
Not quite as ridiculous as I'm used to seeing on, although the water price is kind of silly right now, it feels. And Relic is getting the massive boost out of all this with his 5 water processors, each making $400. Wow! Space elevator still unnoticed.
That it
It is
is.
indeed.
Claim is available for option.
Even gets this nice 10% speed boost from those garages. Very nice thing you can do as a nomad, just hide next to the colony and no one really pays attention.
It is a little bit suspicious having 4 aluminum mines with $20 aluminum, but you know, whatever. It's okay.
Space elevator delivery. So much money.
Sheep really does need to start dealing with that debt though. Going for
Fuel price is spiking with a rad storm on the way. I'm very curious who's going to.
well, this is bold, going for a second space elevator right next to the other one.
Oh my!
And both of
And that
them
one is
still not gooned.
hologram.
Now, they're both hologrammed as metal mines.
Oh, yep, you're right. I was looking at the wrong person.
Kanto, yeah, still just struggling with that found. Really difficult to make that limited amount of space work. Branching out into a lot of interesting buildings. Going for doubled basalt as a scavenger always feels a bit problematic.
There's the radiation storm. $1,000 per second off of these ion collectors for poor sheep.
How did fuel
Same
get?
with, Encanto. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, everyone just transitioned out of ion collectors. And there's a ton of water production down, and fuel just.
Relic's finally going into him.
Time to start improving.
It's just insane how quickly fuel just got to $400 almost.
Relic is -5 fuel per second. Ow.
Engineers have advanced our production.
Going into the 3 ions now.
And optimization of the oxygen, of course.
Okay, excellent. Now he's plus 4.3, that'll calm itself. But in the meantime,
Successful
Sheep has gotten off.
Collectors are-
profits rising.
Hey, these space elevators have just been completely ignored by everyone. No one knows that they're there.
To start improving.
And now one of them has a goon squad, finally. A little bit less to worry about.
Guys,
Launching aluminum, which is the right launch. Always nice to see.
good. Transferring that away from fuel.
2D back going after Relic is a bit more concerning though. Poor Sheep looks like he's going to take out her
Yeah, this is
Kanto
definitely
quickly.
A going after B, and then C decides to throw the game away by playing around with D.
Yeah, Relic and 2D back pretty much had to work together to take down poor Sheep after.
The engineers have advanced our production.
They don't know that he's a threat though. He doesn't look like he's a threat. He doesn't have any visible fancy buildings except for a single optimization center.
That is entirely fair.
Continue to improve.
Where everyone else is once everyone else went into them.
Successful elevator shipment. Profits rising.
But no one knows that these space elevators exist. No one knows that they're launching insane monies. He's in debt, and well, so is Encanto. So, and Encanto is the one who really wants to do something about this. He can't. He could pay off his debt. I mean, they both could definitely pay off their debt. But it is a long time before the debt tick, so there's no real reason to do that anytime before that. So.
Right, might as well finish the buy sooner, get those dividends rolling in.
If they can.
Just another 100k off. Is he really in 3 optimization centers too? That's kind of insane.
I don't mind it too much.
Would have been nice to maybe see one of those claims returned and moved into this carbon right here. Ton of money off carbon.
I wouldn't mind too much if he was using them. He's not using his optimization centers.
Yeah, that's the other problem.
But still launching the correct stuff.
Once this aluminum launch gets off, we're pretty much at the buy.
And
Space elevator delivery.
Well,
So
a
much
little bit more, but the water
no,
launch.
the off-world aren't spotted when optimization centers are getting
elevator going up.
by the mutinies. 20k mutinies. These space elevators are still completely uncontested and unspotted by anyone. Wow.
And that's just really going to be the game right there. Transparent aluminum into very aggressive space elevators. That paid off very well. Amusingly,
Does he? Okay, there's the button. So he doesn't actually have to press the button right now if he doesn't want to. Although he now is in D+1 levels of debt, so looks like he's starting to pay that off right now. The way of Relics and Chewbacca's fight, they're gonna kill each other. That's gonna be A-okay.
using his 2 extra claims for more chems. Those will be okay, but they're also going to drive carbon up more, and still didn't pick up any carbon.
He did cycle out of his optimization centers, and
2D back.
Bronco, I think he was just kind of.
Yeah, just once that found came down, it was going to be really difficult to work with it.
Yeah, exactly. And he was first to found, I'm pretty sure, and it was like the nomad spots are just so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm amazed that poor sheep is.
Elevator going up.
It definitely was problematic that poor sheep didn't pay out of D debt for that interest tick. That might come into play. He does have a large cash laid over 2D back once 2D back finishes his buy off, but
Those filthy bandits.
Prices are insane. He's using his optimization center somewhat regularly. He's just got this game in the bag, I think. And
That
doesn't
is
matter what his debt is.
probably true. Yeah, this is taking long
And then
enough.
Relic and Backer, one of them is going to kill the other, and then it's just going to be.
Right. My concern was just that Relic was potentially going to be a much more profitable sub than Kanto, and 2D back was going to have a higher price, but yeah, this is just taking too long.
Space elevator delivery.
Sheep
That catch
buying.
by, and there it is. And for the split moment there, we're both in D debt. Poor sheep immediately goes on the purchase as soon as that buy happened, and this game is over.
Yep. Also interesting to see that 2D back is the one hacking water, and poor sheep was the one who really got the benefit out of that hack, buying in 300 water and selling out before 2D back could.
And the strike on the not space elevators. Another water shortage. Matter. It's too little, too late. Too little, too late. Poor sheep could probably honestly sell out of the stock and make the buy that way if he really wanted to play it risky. Although there's no reason for that.
I mean, theoretically, 2D back does have a long-term advantage, maybe? I don't know. I have to check
Space
optimizations.
elevator delivery.
But from the...
Poor Sheep's been.
I was just looking
Well,
at the subsidiaries. Well, Kanto
Sheep
has
is a nice
compact mode.
spread on everything except electronics.
Yeah. Should
Poor
clean
Sheep
this
has
up.
the better optimizations. And the 2 off-worlds.
The black market is on.
Making a nice 500 a second on those.
On the farms.
Should be switching back to fuel launches, but at this point, it's not a big deal.
Give him.
Elevator.
How much is that button for Poor Sheep here? 500k. He's at 400k. Now 500. You know. And Encanto's building another off-world for Poor Sheep. How very nice of him.
Kind of just slowing things down.
Take that claim?
I'm actually not sure
Get
when.
that claim right there.
I don't remember there being a building down there, so.
How?
Our methods
Okay.
continue to
Yeah, I have no idea. Yep. The red
Wow.
button should be there any moment now.
market is open for business.
All Poor Sheep has to do now is press the button whenever he feels like it. As soon as this farm goes through, I think we'll.
So much
There we go.
There we go. Well, I've never seen Poor Sheep play, but I mean, he went with a very risky line of play. Right? He had 2 undefended off-worlds for the longest time that no one noticed. Munis are still only 20k. Like, no one knew.
Right, there's
I just, wow.
there are definitely a lot of opportunities to punish Poor Sheep, but if you miss your opportunity, if you miss them going up, sometimes it's just so hard to realize what's going on.
And you can know that the aluminum's mines are fake, you know, when they're building, because they're building at 2% instead of 10%. But I mean, there's just so many things going on in a 4-player game. You don't have time to mouse over every single building, I suppose.
Though I guess to be fair, when aluminum's $20 and you see 4 aluminum mines, you can drop a very cheap spy on that.
Yeah. Biggest money maker by far was the off-worlds. And no one knew who the bad guy was.
Yeah, just 3
Favorite
total
target.
attacks.
Favorite target was 2-back Relic and Tide. No one suspected Poor Sheep at all. Best optimizations, despite being a little bit shaky on his users there. Decent, that was just solid.
Overall, black market use pretty low across the board. 3 for the Scavenger especially, though Kanto was just struggling in DDET most of the game, so it's a bit more understandable. So 10, 10, 16 for... I think could be a bit higher.